Hey everybody, it's Joel Toppin here, and I got a package in the mail from GMT Games. This is Conquest of Paradise, the second edition, and we're going to take a look at what comes inside the box here. What I'm going to do first of all, though, is I'm going to take the cover off so you can kind of see the size of the box. And I thought what we would do to start this is do a comparison with the first edition of the game. So this will be a little bit different box opening because we got the two editions on hand and we can kind of compare and contrast the two. First thing I noticed is the original box is a thinner box. It's about standard GMT box thickness, whereas the new one appears to be like the deluxe size that you see from, say, Labyrinth or any of the coin series games. Very, very thick. You know, you can make a shank out of this type of cardboard. Anyways, so this is a very thick box as well, but it was thinner in terms of the depth of the box. It also had, and it's hard to see it on the video, in fact I don't know if I can capture this or not, but it had a linen finish to it. And so that was something kind of, I think that is unique to GMT game boxes. I don't remember another GMT game box that had a linen finish. The cover art on the two editions is very similar. The painting is identical, but obviously this has got a tan background. The Deluxe second edition has a blue background and so forth. So, alright, so we look inside the first edition. Let's go through the first edition here. This is not the stock rulebook that came with the game. This is a set that I printed out at some point for whatever reason. It's a second copy of the living rules. I think maybe because they were in color online. I don't even remember why I did this. Oh, there was some errata. So that's why I printed this out. So this isn't what really came with the game. This ceremonial dagger also did not come with the game. This is something that I think we were using to mark who was the active player in the game. So kind of cool. Let's get that out of the way. Alright, so the counters, they're the thin white core half-inch counters were included with it. The various different factions had 5/8 inch counters. Again, the white core was the style, and the colors were like a, how do I describe that? A mint green. And then there was like a pale yellow, and they all had a different kind of tribal design on the back side of it. There is a, what is this one? Tan. The best way to describe it, tan. And I think there was white. That's the third one. It's under here, under one of these somewhere. We'll get to it eventually. Ah, here we go. The white ones. So the colors are pretty close together. I don't know how this plays. I'm not colorblind, but for people that suffer color blindness, it might be hard for some people to differentiate the colors. I don't know. But there are different tribal symbols on the back, so I don't think that was much of an issue with the original game. The core cards to the game were your standard card size. Let me unbag these so I can take a couple out and show you what we got here. I think they were thick. They were thick cards like what you have with coin, and yeah, these are the same thickness as like your coin series games, and I think you have, I don't know, 20 some of these, 20, 30 cards. Not a whole lot. It's mostly, it's a cultural development, and it's mostly for victory points. The random events are not a standard card size. They do fit in the Euro thin sleeves, which does make them easier to shuffle because they were perforated and included in a C3I magazine edition. I don't remember which issue had the random event cards, but this added a lot to the game. I think that it's crucial to use the random events in the game. So I don't think once that came out and I learned the rules to the random events, I don't think we ever used it otherwise. There are tiles then for the various different islands. They are the same thickness and size as, say, the tiles that come with Commands and Colors series of games. So that's pretty much what you're dealing with. White core, well, it looks like brown core here actually, but it's not terribly thick. Certainly not a deluxe feel to it. There's your some other game markers, 5/8 inch in size. Came with one yellow die. Each player got a play mat that was not in color. This is back in the black and white era of GMT game designs, which was a little unfortunate for this copy because this game really should have gotten like a Euro treatment. Oh yeah, here's the little villages or irrigation. I don't remember what that was called. It's not irrigation, but something like that. It's for enhanced agriculture that allows you to, an island to support an extra village. So those were how you marked your villages, but they're generic, and so it's kind of tricky to know whose building belonged to who. That could get a little iffy in the game. The rule book, it's not a terribly complicated game. It's 12 pages. So it's a pretty easy game to learn. It was black and white rules. There was designer notes that were also black and white and 20 pages. So the map was a paper map. Wow, I still got the counter screws in here. Paper map. It's not paper, it's cardboard. Think same thickness, say, as the map that came with Golan 73, recent game release. So it's deluxe and it's thicker than paper. It's unlikely it's going to tear, but it's not going to lay flat without some help. So you really needed some plexiglass to hold that down. One more set of counters. These were for the exploration, whether you found an island or navigation or you got off course. 1/2-inch counters. So that's the first edition of the game. That's pretty much all it was there. Not sure why I saved the counter sprues, but there you go. Okay, so that was first edition. Let's go ahead and look at the Deluxe second edition. What do we got here? First thing that jumps right out at me is there is a color rulebook, and not one that I put together. This is an actual color rulebook, and it looks like the components are going to get an upgrade here. So very cool. Index on the back. The whole thing, again, I think it's like 12 pages. Really, yeah, 11 pages of rules, and some solitaire rules are included as well. Designer notes, also in color. So, once more, we are in the color era of GMT games. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, the little player displays for each of the players is in color with the build chart on the back. Very nice, that's what it was. Improved agriculture. So there's one of these for each player, 4 of them. Hiwa, which is this one, Raiatea, something like that. I don't know, I don't remember how to pronounce these. Samoa, and which one's that? Hiva, and Tonga. So those are the player mats. The counters for whether it be exploration or for the advanced agriculture. These are nice and thick. They are the brown core deluxe style that we have been finding in the GMT titles as of late, like MBT from GMT Games had this style of thick counters. So you get a half sheet of those that have the 1/2-inch markers on them. So the markers aren't any bigger than the original game, but they are definitely thicker. And there are markers that were included in C3I magazine that are the markers for some of the random events. So I'm assuming those cards are going to be in here as well. All right, the colors have not changed per se, but they're definitely more distinct. I'm thinking mostly of the green and the yellow are further apart from one another. So the 4 factions, you have white, red, green, yellow. This is going to work better, I think. You're still going to have people that have trouble with greens and reds, but the tone of color is so different that I think colorblind people are going to be fine with that differentiation. So that's really nice. Here are the counters for the islands. And again, they're nice and thick. I mean, these are even they even feel thicker than the regular counters. I don't know if that's the case, but they feel like that. And you have 1, 2 of those, and then we come to the map, which is a hard-mounted map. Yes, not going to need plexi to lay this flat. Except maybe the first time. I don't know. I usually use it the first time. It helps them not warp and lay nice and flat for me. There are wooden bits in the game. How about that? So we have some wooden bits. There are discs, and there's like little Monopoly kind of looking buildings, which are probably your villages. Not sure what the discs are. I'm going to have to look. I'm really curious. I thought I remember seeing that in the rule book when I was flipping through it. They are, oh, to mark your home island. Very cool. So there you are. There's wooden bits in the game. Looks like 1 die in there, and it's a wooden die. So, purple. How about that? Very islandy. And we have an event deck, and also the original. You can see kind of the color differentiation down the middle of this. Looks like half of these are the events from the original C3I, and then the rest of them are the culture cards that you can purchase in the game. And finally, a set of baggies. So it is quite an upgrade. I would say if you own the original edition of the game and you really liked it, that I would definitely want to upgrade my copy. I went and got a whole new edition. I really like the game, and I figure the first edition is perfectly playable. And that might be something I could give away to some gamers or something. I don't know what I'm going to do with my original edition. I really like the box on the original one. The linen finish is kind of cool. But there's just so much more added in the second edition that I'm glad that I went ahead and got that. Again, probably the biggest upgrade for me is the color selection for the 4 factions. You can see here, this was the original, and this is what we got now. This is much, much better. So there you have it. That's Conquest of Paradise, and I'm Joel Toppin. That's what comes inside the box of the new second or deluxe edition.